Well, within the club, there seems to be some interest in sphere cutting here recently. And Anna posted that video of the guy that turned the spheres without a jig. And it's a great video, well produced. The only problem I have with it is it wasn't altogether accurate. And I'm going to just make a short video to try to at least give you some frame of reference so you can judge a little bit better what sphere cutting is really entails. There were some misleading things that he said on that video, and I just want to clarify it. Just really quick, it's not going to take but a few minutes. I could have already turned a sphere in the time that I've talked already. So let's go to the lathe and I'll show you what I know about it. Now, okay, now hopefully from this angle you'll be able to see everything that I'm trying to portray here. We're going to start with just a simple block wood. It's about 2 3/4 square. We'll chuck it up, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it round before we put the jig on it. Okay, we've got it turned around, and it's about 2 3/4 in diameter. So if I put a mark at 1 3/8, that's going to be the equator of the sphere. Now, all I have to do now is put this sphere cutting jig up and go for it. Now, what I think I will do, just to speed things up a little bit, I'll put another mark, and that's roughly where the sphere is going to end. Now I can just take a little, and I can turn this off a little bit and get most of the excess material off. Now that will get us close to a sphere shape, and then I can put the jig up and we can finish the job. And we'll be back in just a second and do that. Okay, we've got the sphere cutting jig mounted. It just goes in the ways of the lathe, and it has a locking lever that locks the whole thing down. It also has another locking lever that will lock the arm. I use that when I'm moving it around, and I don't release this until I actually get on the lathe. Now, in the center, the absolute center, is a little center punch type lever. This is where you position the jig so that you're directly under your equator on the sphere you want to cut. So all you would do is you'll slide this under, bring this up to your work, And then you can set it exactly where you need it and lock it down. Now, the arm just swivels around. The screw advances the cutter. And it's just that simple. And that's all the time it takes to cut a sphere with the jig. And it's a perfect sphere. The only thing left is the tail. And that is not that big a deal to clean up. I cut spheres to very specific diameters. On the video, the way he does it, it would be virtually impossible to get a perfect sphere to a precise diameter. It just wouldn't work. Plus, this thing is smooth enough now. I can sand this with, starting with 220 grit. He did a great deal of sanding on his sphere with 80 grit. Now, the problem with that is when you look at wood, you've got two faces. You've got edge grain and you've got face grain. And I won't go into how you determine which is which. But the bottom line is face grain and edge grain do not sand the same. One is easier to sand than the other. So when you take a piece of sandpaper and hold it against the wood flat, like he was doing, it will sand off the face grain more than it does the edge grain. And in very short order, your sphere that you created with the tool will go oval. Anybody that's turned a pin in the beginning, when they were scared to get down close to the bushing with the tool, they figured, oh, I'll just sand it down. So they get close to their bushing, but they don't actually get close enough. And then they put 80 grit sandpaper on there, they sand the thing down, they finish it. When they assemble their pin, they discover that in one place the wood is flush with the other pin parts, but 90 degrees away, it's smaller than the metal parts on the pin. That's because when they did all of that sanding to bring it down to the bushing, what they really did was sand it oval. When you put sandpaper on wood on a lathe, because of the difference between the edge grain and the face grain, you cannot maintain a perfectly round piece. It's going to go oval on you because of the difference in the density between the edge grain and the face grain. So, for my money, I turned an awful lot of spheres, and most of them are for my magic pieces, and they have to be exact. I have to be within a couple of thousandths of an inch to match the other parts in these magic pieces. And the only way that I can get that kind of precision is with this jig. I could never accomplish that freehand, the way he showed on the video. Now, can you turn spheres the way he did? Sure, you can. Can you get an exact diameter? Absolutely not. And if you do the sanding on it the way he did, you're not going to wind up with a perfect sphere. It's going to be oval. And that's just one man's opinion. You can pretty much take it or leave it. I just put this up, not to tout this jig, but just to give you a more complete perspective on sphere cutting. And that's about it. You guys have a nice day.